There's some places that feel like truly wild, and I just feel really out there in the middle of nowhere. A lot of times it just feels like, I don't know, you're so focused on walking and just taking the next few steps that you can't always appreciate like exactly where you are and what you're doing. And in moments like this, I don't know, you really feel it.
The Great Divide Trail is Canada's longest wilderness backpacking route. It's probably one of the toughest trails worldwide.
All right, roll in. Okay. Here we go.
My name is T. Dostin, and my husband and I hiked the Great Divide Trail in 2017. We actually did the first yo-yo of the trail.
We had hiked the Pacific Crest Trail that was over 4,000 kilometers. This was 1,200, which is pretty far, but we thought we really want to fill up the summer. So we decided we would yo-yo the trail. We'd do it south to north and then all the way back again.
We wanted it to be really super long because apparently 1,100 kilometers wasn't long enough.
We'd see the seasons change, the snow melt, the plants come out, and then all into fall we'd see the colors change, the larches turn gold. And so we felt like we'd get this really deep, immersive experience, seeing spring to fall in the Canadian Rockies.
Yeah, it was phenomenal, incredible actually. And we just totally fell in love with the GDT. It's a place that just calls you back over and over again. And I know a lot of people feel that way.
The Great Divide Trail is one of the wildest, most remote and most beautiful places on Earth. In April 2022, I moved to the United States. I sold everything and I took off with one backpack to live together with Ryan and his van.
Do you know who I am?
You being Ilsa Pratt, aka Cinnamon.
Do you remember how you met me?
We were on the Pacific Crest Trail and I set the camera up to capture some swimming in a lake in Washington. And right as I set it up and about to jump in, you like come over and jump in with me.
I'm like 12 and a half miles into my 30-mile day. Time to reward myself with a swim in Lake Sally Ann at like mile 159.
This is amazing.
And after that, well, we hiked to camp together. I was getting pretty low on food. I was going pretty fast and light, but you had some extra food and you cooked me a dinner. Hot food, the first hot meal I'd had in a long time. So I'd been stoveless out there. Then we hiked into town together and haven't really left each other's side since. That wasn't the hardest section. I don't think I want to know what is, because that was brutal. I mean, it wasn't that bad, but
Still.
it was.
So my gas and my stove won over your heart.
That it did. And your gas still wins me over.
My cousin Meike, she came to visit us all the way from Belgium. We met in Glacier National Park in Montana and we camped all across. It was beautiful. We were feeling uncertain about our future, where we would go to, and what we would do. As a Belgian citizen, I could only stay up to 6 months in the US, and then I would have to leave if I didn't want to overstay my visa. Just north of Glacier, we saw a trail running from Waterton all the way up north.
Oh my God, we're in Canada.
That's when we decided to get in the car, and on Ryan's birthday, we drove across the border into Canada, into the unknown.
Let's make this big mess a bit smaller. That's my good hand. Ugh. Nah.
The GDT is an 1,100 kilometer long route, and it goes from the Canadian border in Waterton Lakes National Park up to Kakwa Lake Provincial Park in British Columbia. It roughly follows the Continental Divide, or what Canadians refer to as the Great Divide, and it crisscrosses it going back and forth between the provinces of Alberta and British Columbia.
You are standing on the Great Divide. It separates the Pacific Ocean drainage basin to the west on the British Columbia side from the Arctic Ocean drainage basin to the north and east on the Alberta.
I think of it as predominantly a trail in the sense that at least 95% of the time there's something visible there that you're following. It's going to be a bit variable, but it is, I would say, roughly that it's about 80% single track, about 5 or 10% alpine open routes, and maybe 5 or 10% ATV trails with a bit of road kind of in and out of resupply areas.
The other thing that people have to consider is that the Canadian Rockies has most of its megafauna still on the ground in the wild, including black bears and grizzly bears. I mean, there's everything from ticks in the early season to biting, flying insects such as mosquitoes and black flies. There are bears and cougars. Some people worry about wolves, though you don't need to worry about wolves. They avoid you. There's wildfires. There's also some risk with the traffic, where the Great Divide Trail is forced to follow along on highways here and there.
The backpack's really light. Half is out of it, probably.
There's no food in there.
That's why. We're at the Trail Angels home right now, leaving the car here to be parked, which we're very grateful for. And tonight we're heading to High River, which is on the way to Waterton. We'll be there in the morning.
Hi Diesel, how you doing, buddy?
We just throw some stuff in the back.
Probably not that common that people hitchhike. I can imagine. They used to, like in the early 2000s, you used to see a lot more hitchhikers.
How long you been in Canada?
A week now.
It's the last stretch of the hitchhike. It's only 45 kilometers to Waterton.
Are you headed to Waterton or any times?
Yeah. This hike was different than its sisters and brothers in the United States because there's not one permit for the whole trip. So you need to make a schedule and plan accordingly.
The Great Divide Trail, logistically, is one of the tougher trails to plan for. You can't just go and buy a single pass and declare your start date like you can on the Pacific Crest Trail.
My name's Ilse Praat. Should I show my passport maybe?
What's your last name?
Praet.
Our Canadian Wilderness Permit for Alderson Lake. Fancy, yeah? Waterton Lakes was pretty popular and the town was pretty crowded. We felt more like visitors first, eating poutine, swimming at the lake, sunbathing. And then it was, yeah, okay, it's time to go.
There it is. The convention of 1818. United States, I'm standing in America right now. I'm back home.
Borders really are just inventions, aren't they? That's the Treaty of 1925. That's when Glacier National Park and Waterton Lakes National Park were merged into one international peace park.
Wow.
Yeah, by the Canadian and the US government.
Wow.
Yep. Peace. A lot of Waterton Lakes is burn area because they had a serious wildfire a couple of years ago. So the heat was pretty relentless. There's not much shade. There's a lot of dead trees and widowmakers, but also a lot of fireweed, a lot of color. So we started going up in the heat. August 1st. It was a hot day.
What up? What's your name? What are you doing?
My name is Jeff, kind of flip-flopping the GDT. I've done C to G so far over the last couple of years. And I was hoping to bang out A and B this year, but some plans fell through last minute, so I'm just gonna have time for section A and have to come back for B next time. But this is killer.
Okay, where are you from?
I'm from the coast, from Surrey.
Okay, is that Canada?
It is,
Okay.
yeah. It's like right by Vancouver. Yeah, so rad to meet some fellow GDTers.
Yeah, and there's one more right in front of us.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, he's staying at Cameron Lake or whatever it's called.
Oh, yeah.
Akamina. Almost the end of day 2. Into the burnt forest.
Michael Jackson, wherever you are.
This one's for you.
That's for you, big guy. King of pop.
Cool.
I didn't know he was there.
Yeah.
The first day we were a little jumpy to be in grizzly bear country as well. It takes some time getting used to the fact that, that's right, I need to be careful or at least be bear aware. Probably have grizzly hair hanging at the tree.
One thing that you'll probably see if you hike the entire trail is a grizzly bear or two. We saw 7 on our yo-yo through hike. Generally speaking, the grizzly bears are fine. They're scared of you. They don't really want any trouble. They're also not really afraid of you, which means if you're getting up close to them, especially if they got cubs, they're not really afraid to smack you around a bit. It's not always easy. If it's loud and you're bushwhacking, maybe you think you're making noise, but the vegetation could be blocking it.
Hey bear!
Hey bear!
Make noise and carry bear spray as well for times when you do end up in close quarters with a bear, and also protect your food. Most popular are Ursacks. They're like a kind of a Kevlar style bag that is largely bear proof. We had a bear chew on ours and it held up. Those are important as well for not habituating the bears and for keeping your food there for you, which is especially important if you're, say, 3 days into an 8-day stretch. You don't want to be left without any food.
Bears are out there, bear encounters are possible. Most of those encounters are benign.
Sorry, Mom. We'll be safe. Promise. Good morning, Ryan.
Good morning, Elsa.
How are you doing?
Oh, I am exhausted. Pretty tired today.
Why?
Day number 4. And yesterday we climbed like 6,000 some feet and did it all in like the first 8 miles of the hike. Today we have a choice in our routes.
Either we follow the main route and that follows the road for a while, is a bit longer, but a bit easier. Or we climb Mount Rowe and we follow the ridgeline from there.
It does seem like the wind is picking up. How are we feeling?
Nervous. Yeah, day 3 and a long, hard day. Yeah, I hope it doesn't butcher us too much. And we scrambled all the way up, which was what everyone said, oh, to go up there, that is crazy. And admittedly, it was. And after 3 or 4 hours just going vertically up, then it was the wind that chased us down. So we had to scramble all the way down on non-existing trail, just bushwhacking our way through, skiing the slopes of a mountain. Crazy. Climbing a snow, how do you call that? A cornice.
Nice.
Quite the challenge, quite the adventure.
And that feeling at the end of the day when you get that that floaty kind of high and you're just like, I don't know, your body's just on autopilot and you actually feel like you're floating because you're so tired. There we go. We made it to the top. Oh, it's like after 7. We'll be there soon. Oh, Yeah, it's a great feeling. Yeah, I'm happy, very happy. And there's a mountain goat or something up on the hillside.
Yeah, no way?
Yeah.
All right, I'm coming. Goodbye, Waterton. Hello, castle. What are you eating, Ryan?
I'm eating hunter stew. Potatoes, venison, onion, vegetable broth, carrots, mushrooms, like, it's so good.
Did you need it after today?
I did. It was another like 5,000 foot day, like almost 2,000 meters. We climbed like La Colette Ridge and Peak and then took the Barnaby alternate, and yeah, it was super challenging. Just a lot of off scree, sliding, and yeah, it was challenging. It was a hard day. Here we are at the summit of La Colette. My French is pretty terrible.
La Culotte, I think.
We somehow have to like scramble off this thing and get down there.
I'm scared.
Does it look like it goes down?
Maybe, maybe not, but I think so.
Okay.
I'm not afraid of heights, but this is scary.
Well, that was scary and sketchy, but we just scrambled up to the top of basically Barnaby Ridge, up to the cairn up here. We missed one of the arrows to go up and ended up like pack over pack climbing up that stupid thing. And we got quite a few more miles and then we'll be off this alternate. Yeah, anything to add?
Damn GDT, you don't need to go so strong right out of the gate. Epic, sketchy and vague. GDT equals 0 foreplay. True. In my early days of walking and backpacking, I was very afraid to go off the path, off the track. I was afraid to get lost or like tramp on some special plants or flowers. But it was a beautiful experience to follow a path and not a trail, not a beautifully maintained trail, but just someone's walked here and he says it's okay, good to go, just follow this and this and there's some ribbons in the trees every now and then, just follow the ribbons and you'll be fine.
Thank you, GDT. These are the official markers out here.
We were holding on for dear life sometimes.
Don't fall.
That's a long way down, sweetie. So glad.
That was a brutal day, huh?
That was brutal.
Yeah.
You almost don't enjoy it because it's like another ridge.
Was that not the most incredible hike? We have friends in our woods. She's carrying the tent. I took the poles today. I went, poles are heavier. I can do heavier. We would read these little cutouts that Barb had at night out of Dustin Link's book. And it said 6 trails alternate is one of the most amazing things he did, you know. When I finished that especially that 6th where there's no trail, I've never been that far out. Yeah. Far out. Anyway, when I got to the end, I went, I gotta write this guy, Dustin Links, and say, your book changed my life. Yeah. One night as I'm hiking home from the tea house, someone said, Linny, there's someone here for you. And I went out and there's this handsome young guy. And he said, I'm Dustin. I was like, you're Dustin? I just was waiting for this old mountain man. And like, I mean, I never thought I'd meet him. I love meeting you. Like, you just have a whole good vibe going on here.
I first hiked the Great Divide Trail in 1996. In fact, I moved to the University of Calgary to finish my degree there so that I could hike the route between semesters. From there, I decided to take all the notes that I'd recorded during my through hike, compile them into a guidebook. I didn't know how big that would be or what shape it would take, but because of that guidebook project, I fell in love with the Great Divide Trail. That's not hard to do. It's such a beautiful route. In particular, though, I love Fording River Pass in Section B. I love Wonder Pass in Section C. The Rockwall Pass on the Rockwall Trail. I've really come to love the area around the highest point on the Great Divide Trail, and I particularly love Jack Pine Pass in Section G.
I woke up and I had a couple spider bites on my body. I'm like, what, you guys? I'm always rescuing you. What the heck? Like, I don't kill any spiders, you know? And then he bites me? What's with that? Even then, I still didn't kill him. I took him outside. My name is Kate Hamilton, and I'm the first executive director for the Great Divide Trail Association. My real passion, my true passion in life is making the outdoors accessible to people. And then I want people to care about the environment. And there's only one way that you can really truly care about something. It's the same with people. If you get to know a person, you care about them, right? And it's the same with the environment, same with the trails. If you spend time with it or on it, you'll connect yourself to it, and then you'll care about it, and then we'll start to make more environmentally responsible decisions and, you know, work together to preserve these trails so that, you know, people can enjoy them for forevermore.
Crow's Nest Mountain, and on the left,
And that's the Crow's Nest Valley, right?
yep, Crow's Nest Valley, Crow's Nest Pass. Suffer bus.
Just struggle bus.
Struggle bus.
All aboard. One last climb, then we drop down to camp. Beautiful lake tonight. Less than a kilometer ahead of you is a wonderful subalpine lake at the base of Mount Ward. Whitebark pine and subalpine fir line the perimeter of the lake. Wildflowers bloom in abundance in the spring. Bighorn sheep and mountain goat frequent the lakeshore for water and grazing. American pika squeak from their talus homes. Occasionally, grizzly bears visit the lake. So here's home tonight. We're at Window Mountain Lake at kilometer... What kilometer is this? Like
7?
That's it. Do the tent dance.
The very first idea or reason why the trail was created was the idea from the Girl Guides, and that was to connect the Canada parks to each other, right? So the trail was actually built to connect the parks, which is cool.
The history of it goes back over 50 years. The first mention of it that we have recorded is by the Girl Guides of Canada. From there, the idea skipped through a few people to Jim Thorsell. Jim Thorsell was the one who published the Provisional Trail Guide, the first guidebook describing the route. When I say guidebook, that's a pretty generous way of describing a brochure, really, because that's what it was. It was a map with some written description, and he envisioned a route that ran from the southern extent of Banff National Park at Palliser Pass up to Mount Robson in Mount Robson Provincial Park.
Oh. Yeah. Are you sure this is the right way?
What just happened?
We got lost. We got off the trail. How did that happen?
The trail here is so easy to miss sometimes, but it's actually a pretty good trail today. The GDTA A did a lot of work and put a bunch of switchbacks in the last year, so it's been super cruisy today.
There's a lot of heart and soul that's going into making the Great Divide Trail better, and that really comes from the GDTA. Used to have, just a handful of members, way back in the 70s, to having over 400 members now.
There would not be a Great Divide Trail if there weren't the volunteers. That whole organization is run fully, aside from me now, only recently part-time, on volunteerism. And there are just so many amazing volunteers who put so much time in, and not just trail building, but behind the scenes, making sure that we do get to the trail building.
When you talk about the Great Divide Trail Association, there were two distinct phases of the association. First iteration of the association happened in the 1970s. It was founded by a group of people that we now refer to as the original six, and they basically went out and they studied the potential for extending Jim Thurcell's trail from Banff National Park down to Waterton Lakes National Park. When they were doing those studies, they found that the land was impacted by primary resource industries such as logging and mining. And so when they founded the Great Divide Trail Association, they were looking for a way to not only gather people and resources to build trail, but also for a way to officially protect the trail. They were able to build about 100 kilometers worth of trail in Kananaskis country, which is south of Banff National Park.
Nice work.
The Great Divide Trail Association had a lot of success in establishing the Great Divide Trail in the late 1970s and early 1980s, but by the mid-1980s, things started to fade out. That changed for the positive soon after the year 2000, when there was a bit of a rekindled interest in the trail. They formed what they called the Friends of the Great Divide Trail. They wanted to not just maintain the trail that existed, but they wanted to really build upon and complete the original vision for this trail and actually build single track connecting Waterton up to Banff National Park.
Thank you.
How was today's hike?
Good. New roads, new bridges. Wow, it was a dream.
This time, there's definitely a focus on maintaining the trail, not just outside of the national parks, but working with the national parks to try and maintain these sections that have fallen into utter disuse. And when I say disuse, I mean like trails completely grown over, unrecognizable, bridges fallen and washed away, campgrounds in total disarray. It's those places where the new Great Divide Trail Association, or GDTA, is focusing their efforts.
It's gonna be cool. Okay, I'm gonna do it. See? Just kidding. It's almost so cold it hurts. I think that's enough. There you go.
We're in the valley about to climb up to Tornado Pass. It's like wild meadows, boulder fields, and bear scat everywhere on the trail here.
As you approach Tornado Saddle, the fine trail will reappear and take you steeply up to the top. Take your time, as this is one of the most challenging ascents on the entire GDT. And if the weather's good, one of the most spectacular too. Tornado Pass.
Tornado Pass.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Oh, fun. That was awesome. Living like mountain goats.
Put your hoofs in the mountain and go up.
Long way down. It's like 6:30 in the afternoon. We're 26 kilometers into a 34-kilometer day. This is a really beautiful forest, though. Stunning here.
I studied literature. I read many old ancient books and tales and mythology. And the Rockies just look like something from a fantasy world.
This is our first trail register. This trail is hard. Oh, my feet. Still headed north to Kakwa on schedule and having a blast. Washout.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got the log
Know what you're doing in there.
I'm writing in my journal. Impressions, thoughts, a little bit of everything.
Oh, my feet hurt. Everything hurts. Oh,
That's how they do.
why do you think I want to take my shoes off? Oh God. We're like 40 kilometers into the day. It's 7:30 at night, but we have another 5.5 kilometers to go, which will leave 10 to do tomorrow for the end of section B. Oh,
Well-deserved end.
yeah.
It's been a long trip.
How many kilometers did we just hike in the last 3 days?
Yeah.
Like 100 in 3 days or something. Almost. Oh. Wow. We made it. How do you feel, Miss Pratt?
My tummy's taking over. I'll go to the toilet. A toilet.
Oh my God.
Cheers. Time for section C.
Section C.
Exciting. Supposedly one of the best sections there is.
So when we yo-yoed the GDT, I would have said section C is my favorite. It just has a lot of really good things going for it. It has the rock wall trail.
I wonder how that rock wall's gonna look like.
I don't know. Like a rock wall, maybe.
Egypt Lake area. It's just a really good section of trail. It's really amazing views. There's not really much in the way of bushwhacking. You're going through valley bottoms with the high mountain views with the hanging glaciers. You're going up into the alpine from there, and you're up on those high peaks looking down in the valley views. And so it's a lot of up and down elevation change. And it really is the most spectacular mountains that Canada has to offer.
That was a very sweaty climb. Straight up with a lot of food on our backs. Day after 0. Never easy. Oh.
We took an alternate up to a couple of mountain lakes, and the end of it was basically the river ford. One advantage of it being a bit later in the summer is that the rivers and the creeks have slowed down a little. Because I'm kind of scared of river crossing, so.
And now our feet are wet for the first time in, I don't know, however long we've been out here. Into section C here. All right, on to our next crossing.
Probably one of the most dangerous challenges on the Great Divide Trail are the water crossings. This is something that the association has been working on. There's been new bridges built, but it's always a battle between building bridges, having them last, flood damage, things like that. So there are a lot of crossings that, in the right conditions, can be quite hazardous to cross.
Bushwhacking in the rain. I love bushwhacking in the rain. Oh, right into the camera. Here comes the rain.
Everything is a little more beautiful after the rain.
It really is.
Wet shoes and wet socks, day in, day out. Ugh. Horrible.
We reached the point that we can smell our shoes and our socks just when we're actually walking around.
Here we go again.
It's not a very... Impressing is one word for it.
Oh, there we go.
Is there more than one? I squirted blister juice all the way across the tent.
Sorry.
Don't do that. Shield it.
We're officially at kilometer 500. Whew.
500 long kilometers. Tough hiking, but here we are.
Yeah.
It's beautiful rock wall pass.
Yeah.
Right in between rock wall and limestone path.
Just crossed a very gray creek, probably because of glacial silt. It's like a sponge. We could wash ourselves on this.
That's how I washed my hands this morning. After my poo.
I know that people love the big mountain views, and I'm all about that too. The views are spectacular, and they're big, and they're massive, and they're like awe-inspiring. But there's also something to be said about the tiny little, microflora that just catches your attention, and, you're out there and you're trudging along and you're not having maybe the best day. And there's just these tiny little forget-me-not flowers that are just screaming, "Look at me," from the trail in front of you. And it's just the most like encouraging thing to see these little tiny flowers. And yeah, I love the tiny micro details of the trail as well. They really do bring me back to life, and they give me the motivation to keep hiking, and it's a different kind of beauty. Everybody loves mountain wildflowers.
Dinner tomorrow, and lunch around. Then one emergency.
How many bars each? Like at least maybe 4 a day?
Yeah. Oh, gelatin free. That's nice.
So like 64 bars. After 4 days in Golden, we are back on trail hiking the Kodak alternate.
It's supposed to be one of the stunning alternates on the Great Divide, so we're looking forward to it. It's a lot of up, I think like 2,000 meters up.
Yeah.
And the end is a challenging 7-kilometer scramble down. Fortunately, there's flagging, so that should make it easier.
Each of the sections of the Great Divide Trail are challenging in their own way, and also there's so many alternate routes to choose from that hikers can make any section as challenging as they want. A good example of this is Section D. Up until recently, it's been the black sheep of the Great Divide Trail. Not very long, just over 100 kilometers, going from Field, BC on the Trans-Canada Highway up to Saskatchewan River Crossing on the Icefields Parkway. However, it has become so overgrown by willows and alders and choked by so much deadfall that it's almost impossible to walk the main route through there. And so there are 3 new alternate routes. And by using these alternate trails, it increases the challenge, I would say, but in a way it's made it easier because you're accessing more beautiful places and the trail is more wide open and easier to follow.
We just reached the top of the first climb, did the first 1,000 meters, and now we're kind of, I guess, just running these ridges out here. So there we go, off through the rest of the Rocky Mountains.
All in Yoho. We're at the Little Yoho River now, and we're at the junction to the Kowetinok Pass, or Kiwetinok. And after the pass, the trail ends and the scrambling begins. So fingers crossed for us, huh?
Here we go.
A little scared.
Does it go?
I think it's doable. The easiest way down.
We descended, scrambled down the super sharp talus, down to some meadow way below.
And that'll lead us to the first marker of the game trail.
And then followed this like super crazy steep animal trail up the other side of the gap here.
Tree got me.
Oh no.
Yeah. One of these.
There's a lot of them.
It's been a while. Since it was this steep.
I know. Oh, we made it.
No. Not at all.
Now we got a nice scramble slide down the other side of this thing. And then in the valley down there, we rejoined the official GDT route.
I'm scared. I don't know what to do. It's all so risky. It was so steep that we both had to crawl on all fours to get down, and I fell.
Did you slide on your belly?
I slid on my belly.
Oh. A great difficult trail continues with some bushwhacking. We just completed the Kowetinok alternate and met back up with the GDT. Yeah, pretty happy to be back on the trail right now. Oh.
So hard to hike with all the blueberries smiling at you. Eat me, eat me. Oh dear, they're so good. Damn. Fruit.
What's it look like?
Would highly recommend this alternative. Still beautiful. It has some elevation and route finding, but it's not technically hard. Cross-country travel on the mountain, pretty epic. A bit of a bushwhack at the end, but it's flagged and not too thick.
So alternate it is. Woo! Let's climb a mountain. We are hiking up a mountain just because that's what we do. The lodge is closed right now, and we just talked to the owner for a minute. He was telling us about the big glacier over there and how much he's watched it recede in the last 30 years since he's owned the place. He said it's been about 1,000 vertical feet that they've watched it melt off. He said they used to see like one waterfall come out of kind of the base of the glacier. Now he said there's like a dozen waterfalls as it's just all been exposed because the glacier has melted that much.
calves. Look at the big calves.
Is that the right way?
I think loggers leave beer behind.
Beer. Great trail, kind of mossy. It is straight down, straight up if you're going south. So it's pretty tiring. And it was hot in there. Do you hear us? We're like really winded. I'm not quite as sweaty anymore, but yeah. Amazing. Here we go. Bridge and then camp. Normally you have to ford Holly Creek back here, but a year or so ago the GDTA built a bridge across this thing, so now there's like a nice little path up here.
I think actually this year.
Oh, it does look
Not
great.
sure. Yeah.
Well,
Thank you.
yeah.
That would have been a huge river crossing.
Damn. Look at that. We made it to camp somewhere on the Howes River, right across the bridge, and pretty tired, crazy hungry. I'm really looking forward to crawling in the tent and sleeping. We're gonna have an early night for once. It's like, I think 6:30 or something. Wake up early tomorrow and get a big day in, and then have a buffet breakfast the following morning. Oh, alright. The first obstacle of the day. A little avalanche chute here. Not easy.
Ilse Avalanche 1-0.
The bushwhacking has barely begun and I've already got some pretty big tears. Not too bad though. 4 legs.
4 legs. Am I turned into a willow now?
I'd call that pretty flooded.
We camped on the floodplain, of course on a safe place. So we had 2 hours of cooking, relaxing, stretching, and just soaking in everything around us. Felt good.
That water is so cold, it's painful. Oh, my feet are like, oh, ouch. Yeah, let's not ford that thing. That's horrible. All that glacial melt. Ouch.
Oh my God, is it cold? Get out of the way!
All right, let's hope we don't have to do too much more of that today. Wow, pretty low.
We're at the floodplain. It's Saturday morning. We're at the end of section D, nearing the end of section D. It's bittersweet. It's been rough for me, but so beautiful.
Why has it been rough?
Because I lost my pod and my stove yesterday, and I went all the way back to find it, and I ran in the sun, and I ran alone, and it was quite intense for me, but I found my pod, thank God.
Can you tell me how far you ran?
4 kilometers, back and forth was 8. It doesn't sound like much, but out here, that's a lot.
Through all the brush. How does that feel?
My legs are pretty scarred up. But I'm wearing pants today. I'm learning from my mistakes. And everything's inside my pack, so nothing will snag anything away from me.
Nice. There we go. Almost to the road. Mista Canyon. What's happening?
Tired, exhausted, but full of what we've seen and experienced. We're now at the end of Section D at the parking lot. Close to the crossing resort, the Saskatchewan crossing. Happy, grateful, but very tired.
Very tired.
We got our bellies full with good food. We had a lovely dinner last night at the pub.
Here we go into Section E.
Yeah, we start at Owens Creek, so let's see what Section E got for us.
Yeah. Wish us luck.
Ciao.
Adios. The North Saskatchewan River. This is what the Howls flowed into.
We're hiking along Owens Creek, and it's a lot of rock hopping, and yeah, it's get pretty slippery. It gets pretty slippery, vanilla.
A difficult section.
We went like straight up some huge washed out section, literally pulling on roots and like climbing our way all the way up. Got up there and then realized that it's a dead end. Welcome to the Great Difficult Trail.
Yeah.
We're camped in Owens Creek right now, right below the pass. It was a pretty cold, windy night.
Rainy. Yeah, it wasn't predicted, but we had some rain this night and last evening. We'll see what today brings. Today we got 3 passes.
We do Owens Pass, the highest point of the GDT, and then Pinto Pass.
Oh, I see raindrops.
The big blue yonder.
September 4th. Or 5th. We're at Michelle Lakes, which is very blue and magnificent. We want to swim in it, but it's way too cold to swim, so we'll have to come back one warm, sunny day, because now we're freezing our ass off.
A little hypothermia to start the morning.
We just met another group of hikers who are hiking from Owen Creek to Nigel Pass. That's fun, finally, people. Now we're going to the highest point of the GDT. If we don't get blown away, that is. Ryan's hat just made a run for it. How does it feel to be on the highest point?
How does it feel? I don't really know. It feels cold. The wind stings my face. It burns a little. It's so cold, actually. And compared to some of the alternates, it doesn't feel all that different. Minus the stinging.
Pinto Pass on our way to Pinto Lake. Last pass of the day, thank God. It's looking dark. Did it add something?
There's one place that I love especially, and that's on Cataract Creek in Section E, north of a place called Pinto Lake, which is a popular backcountry camping for locals. I was amazed, one, to find a trail up there, and then to discover pictographs painted on the underside of an overhanging boulder.
Oh, they're not petroglyphs?
They're pictographs.
Pictographs.
Because they're painted.
I just remember being struck by that this trail that I was following in such a remote place has probably been used by people for a long time, and definitely by the First Nations, probably for hundreds of years, as a hunting route. I'm guessing as a route to access the high passes around Cataract Pass for hunting goats, for instance.
If the trails that the Great Divide Trail is using are not Indigenous trails, then oftentimes they're trails that were cut by those early explorers like David Thompson, early mountaineers like James Outram and Norman Cawley. They were in a lot of these areas going over these same passes as they entered new areas, or by trappers. There's old trapper cabins along the trail, all sorts of history by early explorers.
Hello there. How you doing? Hello, buddy. Oh. How far are you guys going?
Oh, down to the Canadian border.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
That's
Started
where we
in Grand Cache.
What's that?
Started in Grand Cache, on our way to Waterton.
Hell yeah, we came from Waterton.
Going through the Kakwa?
Yeah.
Have a great trip.
Yeah, you guys too. Those horse campers sure know how to camp.
September 6th. No more rain or smoke, thankfully. Truly enjoyed the beauty of this wild and wonderful place. On our way north following the GDT. Saw some grumpy grouse and a loon or two. Cheers, Kodak and Cinnamon. But she's small too. September 7th, 4th Point Campground. We're going up Jonas Pass. It's raining a little bit.
It poured on us all morning here. We like hiked up and over.
Jonas Pass and Jonas Shoulder.
Yep. In the rain, in the clouds.
We suffered. Yep, fall is here. Oops. Late to the party, as usual. Hiking from summer straight into autumn. We love following the creeks here and see all life that water brings with it. Cheers, everyone. Cinnamon and Kodak.
When I did my solo hike of the GDT, it was later in the season and it was pushing into fall. And it's beautiful as it is with the leaves changing and the weather kind of cooling off and you feel like good hiking in that kind of weather. It was fairly cold at nights. So I also found that challenging. Just the weather changes and the cold.
Pretty chilly up here. Very chilly. Well, welcome to Malign Pass. It's barely above freezing right now.
And snow is expected. Might be rain, might be snow, who knows. So down we go to Malign Lake. I've been wearing my rain jacket all day, and the moment we take it off, rain.
The way it works.
That's just the way it works.
Yeah, that's some cold water. We hustled here for a lunch buffet, but because of the fire in Jasper, they don't have propane and there's no hot food today. So we're just kind of sipping coffee and trying to recover a little bit. Pretty cold and worn out. We've been out for like, I think 11 days at this point, 10, 11 days. I don't even know anymore.
So I love the last section of the Great Divide Trail. It's just so wild. And as much as I love these really well-manicured trails of Section C and like the Skyline Trail and Section E, there is also something to be said about having to navigate in Section G and having to pay attention. Yeah, Section G just I think it just has that kind of spirit and heart of the Great Divide Trail.
You can go days, you can go a week sometimes without seeing another person out there.
Every day we would say, "You think we'll see somebody today?" Nobody. Not a single soul.
The hardest section of the Great Divide Trail is Section G. And Section G is notorious because of how remote it is, how difficult it is to access. The northern terminus of the trail is at the end of a 75-kilometer drive up a Forest Service road that's in disrepair. So for these reasons, because of the access, because of the remoteness, because of the sheer amount of wildlife on or around that trail, hikers are really on their own up there, and they should really know what they're doing if they tackle that section.
Oh, my knees hurt instantly.
Wow, that thing is heavy.
Here we go into the unknown.
Our next 12-day section starts right now. We got 300 kilometers to the end of the Great Divide Trail. Yeah, you definitely lose a boot in that.
Look at the ice, Frodo.
Trail is on and off. There was a lot of cross country through meadow back there at the last pass, and now we kind of picked up the trail again, but it's still a little sparse, hit and miss in here. But it's the next break. We found this nice rock to sit on, so we're just gonna sit here and
Oh, a heavy backpack's no joke.
I'm super grateful for the GDTA today. That would have been really difficult had they not just cleared the trail. Almost all of the fallen trees were cut there and the trails kind of opened up. And let me tell you, there was a ton of dead trees falling through here. This is like an old burn zone, so just, yeah, super grateful for that trail crew there.
Yeah, missed again. What those?
You reach Moose Pass, the pass of the day, after a long, cold, wet day full of rain. And this is the first sunlight we see. Damn, it feels good. Oh, it's beautiful up here. Clouds rolling in. But finally, the weather's happy again, and so are we.
Are there particular hazards on the Great Divide Trail? Yes, these are hazards that hikers can plan for, such as the crossing of the Smoky River right at the start of section G. And if you hit that at the wrong time of the day, it's a torrent. There's meltwater basically from an ice field, and so the level of that river just builds and builds. But if you know about this before you head out, you can plan to be at that crossing first thing in the morning when it's low.
Brain freeze.
That water is very frigid and nice icy wind. We're about to be in the clouds, so I think the temp's gonna drop even a little further here.
We started section G a couple of hours ago. It's been raining non-stop. If I eat this, will I grow bigger or smaller? I've been watching Alice in Wonderland. I won't eat it. I don't know which mushroom it is.
If you grow bigger, you could take 10 steps and you'd be in camp. If you grew smaller, you'd fit in my backpack. Win-win. There's no bridge. We gotta get across it. I think we can ford here.
A few years ago, we had a season that was just so wet, like record-breaking rains, and people were really struggling on the trail.
We were just never dry, and it's hard.
You don't have a chance to dry out your gear, and it's just go, go, go. It can get a little bit mundane, and it can definitely wear out your soul a little bit and your morale. That's probably the main thing I would say is the main kind of hazard or thing to be aware of.
Did you just spill the last of our food?
No, it spilled. I didn't spill anything.
So there's a good tip. If it's gonna freeze in the night, open your boots up wide before you go to sleep. Or else you might not be able to get your feet in there.
First thing in the morning we did was Jack Pine Pass, which was beautiful but covered in snow, so it was freezing cold, really like a winter tableau, which was beautiful, but pretty hard because we're not really equipped for it. Then we went down into the Jack Pine River Valley and we bushwhacked and river crossed for 12 kilometers without a trail, which was also pretty hard because you push through water and through brush and through willow and through moose swampy terrain. And then we followed the Jack Pine River, which was fortunately cleaned up by a trail maintenance team, thank God.
Trail. Thank God for trail crews.
So yeah, hard day. Hard day.
Are we almost done?
Yeah. It's 180 kilometers to the highway itself, but there's a cabin in between where we can warm ourselves. It's been a lot of rain and a little bit of snow and hail, so it'll be nice to warm ourselves in the cabin, and then the last push to the highway and the foot doctor. They're red and swollen. Might be Outlet's foot, might be something else. It's a weird feeling. I've never had it before, so it's a little scary. I'm a little in pain, but yeah, there's nothing else to do than continue. We're almost there.
Driving up north on the Trans-Canada Highway. The night is sweet, 1,000 stars. I'm driving up north on the Trans-Canada Highway. The night is sweet, 1,000 stars.
Saddest moment of the day.
Should I stay with you? I know. Should I stay for more? Should I stay with you? I know now. Don't want to leave anymore.
Oh well. So I'm carrying ice today.
Love and lie with you. I want to build a home.
Do you see that? Sunshine. Do you see that? Dry hikers. So today is Tuesday the 20th?
Yep.
And it's the day before last. 51st?
51st day on the trail.
51st. Time to wrap it up.
And yeah, basically one more day of hiking and then we're done. We'll be at Kakwa Lake. After that, we'll still have like, what, 100 and some kilometers to walk.
100 exactly.
Really?
Should I stay with you? I know.
Rise Pass.
Should I stay for more?
Is it just Kakwa Pass after this?
Providence.
Providence and then Kakwa.
Yeah.
20 kilometers to the end of the GDT. Almost there.
Willows, they ain't done with us yet.
1,100 kilometers. Wow. What's happening?
The last marker of the GDT. 500 meters from the lake. I have never been that far away from civilization before, and I loved it. It was so peaceful. I'll never forget that. I felt so good.
Oh my God. The greatest sight I've ever seen. An open cabin on like one of the most beautiful places ever. Saying goodbye is bittersweet. The further north we went, the more we fell in love with the natural beauty surrounding us. Lots of love to the GDT community. It's beautiful out there. Kodak and Cinnamon.
Well, the whole Great Divide Trail is epic. It really is.
So for those intrepid souls who want to hike the whole thing, I'd say start planning early, get as much information as you can, and don't get discouraged. You can do it. You have the resolve. You can make it work.
If you're considering hiking the Great Divide Trail, that's amazing. You have all my support because there's just nothing like it. It's amazing, and I highly recommend it.
I'm a big believer in everyone. I think almost everyone could go out and physically do the trail. A lot of people have hiked this trail and they say, you know, it's hard, but nobody ever disputes that it's some of the most beautiful terrain in the world.
It's the Great Divide. It's, you know, it's the highest points of Canada, and so you get that really changing landscape.
The cliffs, the ice fields, the spires. It's some of the most aesthetic mountains in the world.
It's really hard to maintain, you know, over 1,100 kilometers of trail. So doing our best to make sure that happens so that people can keep going on it, you know, connecting themselves to the land, experiencing Canada's beauty.
There's not a lot like that. As much as Canada, we seem to think that we have this vast, amazing, unending wilderness, there isn't a lot of those places left that are like truly remote.
You can hike trails that are awesome. The Pacific Crest Trail, the T Aurora, they're fantastic trails, but what they don't have is this big, authentic, intact wilderness that we have here in the Canadian Rockies. We were going hundreds of kilometers without crossing a road, fully intact ecosystems, and it gives the trail this sense of authenticity that you're actually hiking through something really special.
Changed my life. Bravest thing I ever did. Wow.
Walk to a river I cannot swim across. Every time I leave that house, I run into my boss. There's always someone yelling right into my ear. So I guess it's time for me to get up and get out of here. The man who locked me up looked just like my dad. Every time I wag my tongue, it always turns out bad. And the TV keeps on telling me that I should live in fear. I guess it's time for me to get up and get out of here. I guess it's time for me to get up and get gone. Killers came to do their worst and I fall down alone. I followed right behind them, my dear. I don't know where you go when you go on a trip like that. Always make me circle round like a rabbit around the track. There's water in the mountain streams, it runs by cold. I guess it's time for me to get up and get out of here. A man came through with a pick and a shovel, his heart pulled back like a trigger. He held the place till he met his grace.